The Southern African Development Community has announced a phased withdrawal of its military mission from the Democratic Republic of Congo. This decision follows significant challenges faced by the mission, including casualties and evolving dynamics with rebel groups like M23. The withdrawal raises questions about the future of peace and stability in the eastern DRC. Institute for Security Studies senior researcher Willem unpacks these issues for us. Willem, good to speak to you this afternoon. Now, what are the primary objectives of the SADC mission in the DRC, and to what extent were they achieved?
Good afternoon to you, Hugo. Yeah, we see that initially they were deployed as a peacekeeping mission, but also to support the soldiers of DRC and the other groups that are fighting with them against the Rwandan-backed or perceived to be backed by Rwanda, M23, and their groups that are fighting with them. So they were supposed to stabilize and to keep the peace, but we also saw that the M23 had other ideas, and they started to advance. And at the end of the day, we're sitting with quite a severe problem.
So was this mission a success?
I don't think you can brand it as a success. You know, we got close to 1,000 soldiers. Now that includes your support, your chefs or cooks and all the others. Then in a base, and they are completely surrounded by the M23. They are there at the mercy of the M23, and we saw that they raised the white flag. So they are described to be in some of the commentaries as the guests of a rebel group named M23. So they are not in control. We don't have any trump cards there. They've got all the cards, and we are actually standing with a hand in the hat in order to get our people out of there.
So what's interesting is that the Southern African Development Community is a 16-member grouping that sent thousands of troops. South Africa, I think as many as 3,000 troops at one point, part of these peacekeeping missions. So several thousand members of SADC on this mission, fighting against what is termed a rebel group, and as things stand, losing that mission. How do you, when you read between the lines, does SADC not have capacity? Is this M23 group not really a group? Is it an entire army? Is it bigger than the grouping and the name suggests?
Yeah, I think you must understand, you know, SADC, even though it consists out of 16 member countries, when it came to when they requested countries to participate in this mission, only 3 of them actually raised their hands, and that was South Africa, Malawi, and Tanzania. Now, Malawi, you know, it costs us a lot of money. Like I mean, you know, the SAMIM deployment, we budgeted 2 billion rand per annum just to keep SAMIM there, and it was a much smaller deployment that was there. So for Malawi and to some extent Tanzania to budget for that, I mean, you know, it's just not feasible. So that is why South Africa, at the end of the day, sent the bulk of the troops, but also of the equipment that was deployed against the M23. Now we must understand the M23 is a very well trained, very well organized, and very well equipped rebel force. All over it is accepted that Rwanda is supporting them. The UN also mentioned that some 4,000 troops of Rwanda that's got a very highly trained, highly skilled, and well equipped military force. They are also deployed alongside with the M23 in order to support them. So all in all, yeah, it was from the start. This was actually a losing battle that SADC get into.
Now, Willem, how might this withdrawal impact the security landscape in the eastern DRC, particularly concerning the M23 rebel group and security in general across the African continent? Because if a grouping of this collective of SADC and others have failed and are basically pulling out of a mission before they accomplish what they intended to, it sends a wrong message, does it not?
It does. But you must understand the dynamics behind it. If you look at the DRC itself, President Sekedi is really in trouble. He lost control over most of the country and the military. So he's not completely in control of them. It's very shaky ground that he's moving on. So he's not a strong man that can move strongly and can make strong decisions. We also see that at the end of the day, they also got MONUSCO there. That's the UN peacekeeping force that's been there for a very long time. And South Africa has also got people deployed there. But between them and between the SAMI DRC deployed group of South Africa, Malawi, and Tanzania, they were not a match for these people, and it all starts with the basics. I don't think we did the basics right from the start. The deployment was actually rushed. We were still busy demobilizing from Mozambique when we deployed to DRC. We are under-resourced, underfunded as a military in South Africa. And at the end of the day, I think the planning, but also the intelligence of what to expect and what to do and how to things are actually on the ground there, I think that was lacking, and we made decisions that were rushed and based on poor intelligence or no intelligence, and that led us to this debacle where we are in today.
So the broader implications on regional security, is it likely to impact other SADC countries?
No, it's a regional conflict at the moment because you've got Rwanda already involved. You see also that we have Burundi that have deployed some of their troops to fight against the M23 along with the DRC troops with the FDLR. And we also have Uganda in the north that deployed their troops to fight against the ADF or the ISIS in Central Africa province. So your challenge is that it's already regional. It is affecting not only SADC, but also the East African community, but also the Central African community, because DRC is not only a member of SADC, it's also a member of the EAC and also of the Central African community. So there's a lot of dynamics in there, and because of the dynamics on the borders, where this massive country of DRC actually borders with so many other countries in that specific area, where you got your backstop of international borders that make it easy for these groups to operate, it really is problematic.
Willem, just give us your final thoughts as we wrap on the process of phased withdrawal. What does it mean? Do we expect SANDF forces to be home tomorrow, next week, and the weeks to come? What happens to those that have been captured? Are there any that have been captured? Will they be released? What are the modalities around all of that?
Well, the modalities around that is there to surrender to the M23. They are confined to base, and they're there at the mercy of the M23. So if you need to negotiate, we don't have a strong hand when it comes to that. And that came through when we negotiated to have our wounded and our deceased repatriated back to South Africa. We see that it was a long process. At the end of the day, they had to move through Goma and through Rwanda to Kigali, where they came back with none of the equipment. So the equipment is a big issue. That is going to be a contentious discussion and negotiation point, because South Africa has actually hundreds of millions of rands of equipment that is there. Because we surrendered, because we are at their mercy, are they going to allow us to bring back that equipment? We don't know. That will all come out in the negotiations. And also the phased withdrawal. The phased withdrawal will depend on the negotiations with the M23 and how they would like us to return, whether they want our people to return through Kigali. That will be actually more of an embarrassment to our government, or would they that's the only way at the moment, because Goma, they've got the Goma airport under their control, and Kigali is the nearest international airport that can actually repatriate South Africans. So there will be a lot of negotiations, and South Africa will have to eat the humble pie in this instance, I'm afraid.
Willem, Institute for Security Studies senior researcher, walking us through that phased departure of troops from the DRC following the announcement by Southern African Development Community earlier in the week. And he says it's not going to be an easy process, and part of that means South Africa is going to have to eat some humble pie as they negotiate the withdrawal of their troops from that region.